Hi, everybody. This is take two.
Yeah,
It's July 30th, discussing tabletop. Apparently, I thought I'd gone live, and maybe I didn't. I don't know what happened, because it didn't even start going live when I hit all the buttons.
that's real weird.
Yeah. I must have, clicked next to it and thought I clicked it or something, something like that. I'm going to blame myself, just because that's the most logical thing, though there could be technical difficulties, too. But I'm going to assume I messed up. I do that a lot. You missed all the good conversation about some things, which is really sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some links in chat and stuff like that, and I guess I can re-link them. Like copy, link, and repaste this one here. I guess let's just kind of go over what we talked about up until now. And it's kind of hard to recreate a thing here, you know. I think that's the unfortunate thing is that missing 15 minutes means we just missed 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We talked about the Dark Archive, which is released by Paizo. It's their occult stuff. Things like the Psychic are coming out with that.
The Psychic and the Thaumaturge. There's a guide for the various cults and secret organizations that have made it to we. I don't think the Palatine Eye and shit in Moostelov did, because I don't think they've actually done Moostelov yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They might, because the last wall book is coming out soon. Or whatever.
That might link up to it.
Might link to this.
Yeah.
But it looks like, just from reading the beautiful little cliff notes, it probably has guides on how to create your own.
It's always cool. You said there was Oracle stuff there too.
Yeah, it says that there is. Let's see.
I have to reopen this thing because I closed the tab.
I read it and I've lost it. Blah, blah. Yeah, it looks like there might be some Oracle goodness. Probably not. Maybe not a subclass or archetype rather.
Okay, and this is the interesting thing about it. They're unleashing. They've got the physical book, a special edition book with the kind of faux leather and metal gloss. They're also already selling the pocket edition of this, which actually I kind of like in a way. The smaller soft cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually kind of an interesting thing because you can get so it's the DM might want to get the full book, and if I'm a player that wants to use this a lot, maybe I get the pocket edition, or something like that.
Yeah. I do like that it also links to the various virtual tabletop sites, and then they always link to the content that is on Archive of Nethys, which they put up for free.
Yes.
Which is one of my favorite things about Paizo is they will put up the classes and stuff for free.
Yeah.
Everything on the mechanical side.
The mechanic stuff is just up there for free. Yes, you can't get a lot of the story, the adventures, the backgrounds of a lot of these things, but you can get all the mechanic stuff just for free, and that's always been a really good thing about Paizo. They're honestly, I think it's helped them a lot. Be a fan favorite. But yeah, so Dark Archive, we were talking about that, and then we basically reviewed the fact that I have very little experience with the occult stuff. You have a little bit of experience with the occult
I've
stuff.
played Spiritualist. Spiritualist is pretty fun. I want to play Kineticist eventually. One day.
Kineticist, I've seen someone play, and then I had experience with the Kingmaker version of it, which is not a perfect version of it, but it's close enough to get an idea.
The only thing, because I know that someone was going to play one when we, well over a year ago at this point, originally talked about Skulls and Shackles.
Mm-hmm.
I think someone was going to play one, and then determined it's a lot of math, I don't want to do it.
Mm-hmm. You have to track a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It is both an unfortunate thing that I will agree on. Is a heck of a thing to track all that shit. For Kinesis. Yeah, man. I don't know if it's actually quite reached a year yet, actually, for Skulls and Shackles.
Well, this is like when we originally had talked about it.
Oh, that might be a year ago, yeah.
And then we just never did it.
I mean, honestly, it's been a much more efficient adventure than some of my other adventures. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, things happen unlike a certain Thursday game.
Eventually, it'll be done in, like, I don't know, 5 sessions. I can just have those 5 sessions. Honestly, that's all I would take.
We need to have the sessions.
I just need to have the sessions. Like, honestly, it's like 1 session to end Urborg, and then, like, you know, I don't know, 2 sessions to be, like, some side stuff that, like, it opens up for, like, the final thing, and then, like, 2 sessions final battle or something, I don't know.
Creamy from Kazrin's torture.
It just seems to get worse every time. We'll talk about that later on. That's the topic for today. Alright. Infinite Masters. That's what we were talking about when I discovered I must have mishit the button.
Yeah, Infinite Masters, it's community stuff. Basically, Paizo being like, hey, here's community content creators that make quality work. And you know what? I think it's a good thing.
It's kind of like a Twitch partnership program I compared it to, because that's a thing where, like, you know, your work is recognized by Twitch and you get, like, another level of stuff, you know. It's that what it is. There's a bunch of people on Infinite doing all their community stuff. Paizo recognizes these. Granted, this is a lot less community-driven, much more Paizo-driven that they're recognizing you. But Paizo does a good job with their community. They're better than... I think my last comment was they're better than Wizards when it comes to this kind of stuff. I don't think Wizards recognizes anything their community does.
I don't know if Wizards does really any community interactions outside of, like, throwing a UA, vomiting up a UA onto Twitter with a survey, and then that's it.
Or being like, you seem to earn a lot of money from our game. Do you want to make an adventure for us?
Or, like, I mean, Jeremy Crawford will talk about rules and stuff, but, like, I disagree with a lot of his rulings.
I haven't looked at a lot of them lately.
They're mostly fine.
I knew that there were, I don't know if there's an end-all be-all for that. I knew I always enjoyed, what was it, oh god, Chris Perkins saying that werewolf vampires could exist, and then it won my day.
I mean, the best thing that I've seen from Chris Perkins was he made a single tweet that has upset so many nerds. When the D&D movie trailer came out, and the lady wild shapes into an owlbear, which mechanically, technically, a druid can't do. Who gives a shit? Chris Perkins tweeted, I will let druids wild shape into owlbears in my games, and that pissed off a lot of people, apparently.
Why?
Oh, who cares? An owlbear is cool.
That'd be cool.
Shit. Owlbears aren't that good.
No, they aren't. They aren't. If you match the CR of it and someone asks for it, I'd be like, sure, why not myself, you know?
It's a CR3 bear. Who cares?
You have to be like a Circle of the Moon.
The Moon Druid's the only one who could really do it.
Yeah, the Moon Druid. And then you'd get to the high enough CR to do one, and I'm like, fine, what the fuck?
If you want an owlbear or any monstrosity that is beast-like in my game, I don't care.
Owlbears don't do anything special. They're just... It's just a
cool
weird
looking,
monster.
It's a weird bear. It's an owl and a bear.
Yeah, and a lot of people make them adorable looking, which wins a lot of other people over, you know? And, like, honestly, they've had some interesting art over the years of them.
It's like the most iconic D&D monster.
It really is. It's like, it's if you need an iconic monster that is fantasy-driven in any media derived from D&D, because it is in Pathfinder 2, owlbear.
Yeah. Well, and then when you make your Kingmaker video game, you make them like CR20.
Fuck you, Kingmaker! Why are they like super owlbears that are like also fays or something? You know, they just murder you.
Just Kingmaker's a bad time. That's why.
Oh God. Haven't hit that in Wrath of Righteous. But
just wait. There's gonna be one door with 20 owlbears behind it.
Hit Crusade mode.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I won a battle, but I didn't really understand what I was going on. And then I looked and I'm like, when I turned off the basic tutorials, it turned off all tutorials. I kind of wanted a tutorial for this.
That's fine.
Then I looked up online and found a little bit of a tutorial, but then I was going to play yesterday, and I said to myself, I need more tutorial. I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. I couldn't figure out how to switch back to my team.
Nice.
Because they didn't tell you how. And then it turns out to be incredibly easy to do that. So I finally figured out if I hit the rest button and then canceled it, I would go back to my team. No, it turns out at the top of the screen, there's these little banner things which just look like decorations, which are technically switched between your team and your armies.
That's why I will never play Wrath of the Righteous, despite the fact it's on sale like every week.
What? Why? Tell me stuff, game!
I've played through the AP. I don't need to play through the video game.
Mm-hmm. So it hasn't scared me completely away yet. It scared me enough that I'm probably only going to do it once a week. I thought about it twice. Probably not. But Infinite Masters, pretty good thing. Hey, we caught up to where we were.
Yeah, we've done it.
I'm going to link this thing here. Because we always talk about monsters in 5e. We're like horrifying things, but what about cute monsters?
Not allowed. Sorry.
Look, it's sort of like, Pathfinder goblins and kobolds are just kind of adorable in general. And they're technically just... I think they make them less evil. They're just there and do their own weird things with their own weird lore. Like,
Yeah. They really hate dogs.
They do, and horses. Because they're big things, and they prevent them from taking stuff from the longshanks. I remember that term. I played through Rise of the Runelords. It shows up a bunch.
Man. It's like a weird mushroom dog, and I hate it.
Is that some kind of weird, deep otter?
Yep, there's like a snail cat. These are the things when you read a medieval manuscript that are doodled into the margins. Because side tangent, fun fact, chat. Little fun history fact. For whatever reason, medieval monks really liked drawing knights fighting giant snails.
It happens surprisingly a lot. Other weird things. Look, I'm gonna say, I'm fine with the weird, adorable creatures. Honestly, you need a little bit more of that because it's like it draws you away from the kill first mentality, which is unfortunately I feel like that's ancient role playing mentality.
Yeah,
that's very ingrained there.
If you have goblins in your game, and you don't want your player to kill it, just make it a lady. There you go. Your players will love it.
Or make it adorable and stupid.
Yeah. Make it cute.
Well,
I mean, more monsters are always good. 5e lacks a lot of monsters.
Mm-hmm. And stuff that's not big stuff is also good too. It's one of those things that yes, you need your dangerous threats and your things that are going to fight against you. But also having something small, adorable, or just an innocuous encounter adds to a world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird shit in Pathfinder that's you're probably not going to fight this, but it's there, and you can encounter it, and you can use it. They do that a lot. It's good that you do this now. Well, someone's doing it for 5e.
Yeah, because people have to do it because Wizards fucking won't.
Wizards doesn't do anything helpful. I continue to be more and more disappointed in Wizards at every turn.
I mean, I have tried to put cute... I run a Star Wars game.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to put a cute animal in the game, and people shot it.
No, one person shot it.
One person shot... No, there was one guy on the ship, and it got shot, too.
Oh, that's right, I forgot. There's two people that shot it. The one that owned the ship didn't want any animals on the ship. And then
a
there was the one that
horrific-
just murders everything.
It's just a horrific lizard bird. It's the size of a dog.
I was fine with it.
It probably wasn't very cute. I'll
Probably
be real
wasn't.
honest.
It was probably pretty horrific.
Probably looked like a little dinosaur.
Mm-hmm. That's cute in its own right. But that is a, that's the thing. I got something else that has just the best name, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. And that is Dodos riding dinosaurs.
Alright.
This is technically the reprint and the expansion. I don't I don't know why this game exists. It's a dexterity racing kart racer. Oh, it's inspired by kart racing video games. It's a dexterity racing board game.
Interesting.
I haven't done a lot of those, but I know
I've played racing board games before.
Yeah, I certainly know.
They're fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it depends how well they're designed and how complicated they are. The one I played was like a chariot racing game. Forget what it was called. Played it years ago. It was pretty fun. I could see myself enjoying this for the novelty of it.
I mean, it is such a weird novelty. I think too is the thing. That it's just so strange. Like I look at the little miniatures and it's got like the little like dodos somehow like riding on things. It's like the snout of the plesiosaur, like in the talons of the bird. Kind of like hanging off the side of the predator on the back of the one.
Yeah.
It's adorable in a way, and also
Pretty
weird.
Cute.
Yeah.
And it, if you got kids,
Yeah.
it look pretty kid friendly.
Also, if you just like the name, honestly, that's
A good name.
It's just someone had this idea of like, okay, we got this idea for the recipe. Okay, how do we sell it? What if we make the racers dodos? Okay. And they're riding dinosaurs. That's a moneymaker.
Well, I mean, like, everyone loves Dodos, although we as people will never get to experience how they taste. Apparently they were delicious.
This is very, very true. They were quite delicious.
They were so delicious, they were hunted to extinction.
Yeah. They were too delicious. I'm sorry, Dodo. You're just too delicious. Chicken, move over. Dodo. Look, if someone could figure out a way to bring the dodo back, I'm sure it would replace chicken.
Get the Jurassic Park people on it. Like, they'll figure it out.
I mean, it's been extinct a lot less time. It's a lot easier. Gotta be honest on that one. It's very well funded, this one.
Oh, it's smashed it out of the park. It's like, if you ever think that your board game idea is dumb, go on Kickstarter and look at what's funded.
Exactly.
Anything will get funded. If it looks fun enough, or has enough of like the quirky charm to it, people will buy it.
Yeah. You need fun and quirky charm sell stuff heavily more than anything else. Especially nowadays. So, yep. I saw that and was like, I had to talk about it. Dodos Rising.
Pretty good.
So there's one more Kickstarter thing to talk about, and this is the one that like drew my attention because it's totally not Pokemon.
Legally distinct, huh?
Legally distinct. It's Battle Zoo Eldamon for 5e and Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Where you can be in a normal RPG and raise monsters to battle.
Honestly, so yeah, it's kind of like Pokemon, but
yeah,
this to me, especially that first cover on that book, that's like Monster Rancher more than Pokemon. I don't know if anyone here has ever played Monster Rancher 1. If you haven't, you should. It's great. It's on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing and weird-ass video game. Also watch the anime because it's fucking weird. But I'd be down for this. I love stupid things in D&D. That's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
With spikes on it. That is a Digimon, not a Pokemon.
Apparently they have a pet form, a battle form, and an evolved form, too.
Yes, it's like, this is what Pokemon's gonna be eventually, right?
This little, like, weird bat monster becomes, like, Fox Bat, and then I guess becomes, like, Fox Demon? I don't know. It's kind of weird. I mean, Pot Snake becomes Pot Hydra, which becomes Greater Pot Hydra.
Fair. That's a Yu-Gi-Oh monster if I've ever seen one.
Look, I just look at these and the progression of it. It's just a kind of a weird thing. They are very adorable in their small forms, they become less adorable and murdery. And they have types too, because of course they do.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of their stretch goals they've met. They had stretch goal elements too. Time, space, spirit, body, mind, darkness, light, music. Oh, music class animal. You can sing. It's your bard's best friend.
Oh my god, they've got plushies too.
Of course they have plushies. That's an of course they do.
If you spend enough money, you get some plushies.
I can certainly see this. And apparently this group has done other bestiaries and stuff too.
It's pretty good miniatures being shown off down here.
Oh, those Tyra-proof Squirrely Lash and Lotus Snake.
Yeah,
Lotus Snake.
My favorite Pokemon. This is the new Pokemon game. I don't know where it's set. Probably somewhere stupid. It's better than Lechonk, which is a pig.
It just is a pig.
Or a bike Pokemon legendary.
It is just a bike. God, it's just a bike. It really, really, really is. And it's really weird. Honestly, I'm just curious as to how they adapt this to 5e. That's a big thing I'm going to do. Or Pathfinder or something. Because, I get it, a system like Besom, where you have this, point system, and you can use those points on your pet monster to make it better. That's a very easy system to build it into. I'm curious, do they have levels? What is the evolve mechanic? There's a lot of questions I have that...
I imagine it's just, the simplest way to do it would be, here's a stat block, here's how it improves levels.
Yeah. Keep it simple. Keeping it simple's not necessarily bad. I'll agree that's a pretty decent thing to do. But certainly, if you are a fan of that genre of stuff, then, it is a game that's out there and it is funded, so, Battle Zoo Eldamon Monster Training. Yeah. It's, on Kickstarter for 20... God, it's 27 days, it's already funded. Yeah, it's gonna do well.
It's Pokemon thing, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna fun well, yeah.
Like Pokemon, people... enjoy Pokemon, therefore...
Mm-hmm. People just wish Pokemon games better.
People just wish that Nintendo would pay someone to make a Pokemon tabletop RPG.
Or you come up with a lot of interesting monsters. Put them in a better game, please.
Or...
more quality. Just stop making the same game. They're talking about doing that for this upcoming one, but it's also just the same as the last game they did.
I haven't played a Pokemon game since 2005 because it's the same game released over and over again with different monsters.
I played 2 generations. Then they went out of technology for me.
I technically own Sword and Shield. I played 10 minutes of it and was like, this ain't for me.
That's the one I heard is of the recent ones is probably the worst. Just because it's so middle of the road.
It's actually kind of. The rival made me very angry because of how stupid he was.
God. Yeah, they're
How
good.
dare I expect, a good character in a Pokemon game?
How dare you expect any form of intelligence?
How dare I expect a Pokemon game to be at any kind of difficulty?
Yeah, like have any kind of challenge built into it. Like, you could have the normal easy mode, or you could just have slightly more difficult. I don't know, just decrease the level of the fucking...
the rival used to pick the type that was stronger against you. That don't happen no more.
Now they choose the one that's weak against you. It's like, you want to beat me up, don't you?
God, it's so bad.
Mm-hmm. Gary!
Little Gary Oak.
Yeah, I remember fighting the shit out of that guy.
I remember naming him things that weren't Gary Oak because it was funny.
Me too. Yeah, let's talk about Dune.
Dune, that's a fantastic book and also a product.
Adventures in the Imperium. Yeah, it's Adventure. It's pre-order now. Shipping's late October, early November, and the PDF, as soon as that comes out, will be available for people. So it'll probably be somewhere in between there, as Modifius normally does.
Yeah.
But this is their latest thing from it. It's a 166-page campaign. So it is it's a big adventure. And it's got 9 chapters in it.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, Dune it's one of the ones on my list to eventually play.
I mean, these are the kind of products I like seeing because it's sort of as much as it's good to make your own stuff, the thing is, making your own stuff is hard.
Yes.
Having experience playing something that the company that designed the game put together gives you an idea of how to build that stuff, at very least.
It's also very good to give you an idea of how it is meant to be played.
Yes.
Because you can look at something like Star Trek and see, it does have a combat system, technically.
God, I still don't know how to use that.
You really aren't meant to use it.
No, you aren't. I have to actually, find a pre-made Star Trek that has some of that and be like, how does this work?
I don't know if any of the pre-made Star Treks would have combat in them.
There was the option for a little bit. I think Josh, on Funny One, when he did a Star Trek off-stream, before he did his on-stream Star Trek game, he ran something with us, which I thought was a little bit more pre-made and based off one of the adventures, at least, or something he'd found. And it had the option of some kind of combat. Because long story short, it was all about those, brain parasites?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Brain slugs.
Brain slugs. The Star Trek ones where they, blow up a guy at the end.
Oh.
And the inside of it's a giant, super parasite, which was just... That was an episode.
Star Trek is dumb.
Look, this next gen, it's fine. They did... Oh, God. Brain parasites, though.
I don't know, what book is going to have Klingon acid punk in it, from Lower Decks?
Probably the Klingon one. I don't know. I don't have the Klingon book. It's one of the ones I don't have.
I love how much that gets mentioned in Lower Decks. It's Klingon acid punk. It just mentioned so much.
Well, the thing is, it just sounds like a thing that they would have anyway. It's Klingons. Because they've had Klingon opera and have they've had it on the background someone, and it's Klingon opera is very very loud and shriekish and stuff like that too. It's their musical tastes are probably very interesting and very, very, very death metal. I'm sure is the best way to describe it. But yeah, Dune. If you want to just try out if you want to do a longer campaign that's more than trying out, just to get an idea of how campaigns work, probably this is a great product for you.
Yeah, and the great thing about campaigns is you can continue afterward.
Yeah. And this is continuing a what-if scenario that was begun in Agents of Dune. So, it's it's setting again. The thing is, this can be run on its own. It can be part of the continuation of the Agents of Dune box set, which I think is their like starter box set kind of thing.
Yeah, they're kind of their starter thing.
So you can do that. You can. It's like with most of these stories, it's your version of the world.
Yeah.
So you put them in there. You know, it's like this is your version of the book kind of thing. You know, whether the things like the books happen or not, up to you.
Yeah, you don't. When you're running in these sort of licensed RPGs that build off of an existing world, you don't have to follow what happens in that existing world.
Nope. Like certainly things like if you're running a Star Trek game in Next Gen, you could do whatever the hell you want. Like in the Next Gen area, you could just different things. You don't have to have the Dominion War happen, even like something like that. You know, you don't have to have it happen.
Yeah, like I mean, in the Fantasy Flight Star Wars game I was in, we may or may not have killed Vader early on. You know, that fucks up the whole series.
Yeah, I mean, that just messes with the timeline.
We may not have just killed Vader at the end of the campaign.
So, certainly, check it out. We talked about the Dune stuff. I got one more main topic, and this is I don't know where to put this one, because it's like, I wanted to talk about it in a way. I call it Friends from Your Grave, because it's... Friends Clue by USAopoly. What?
So I've never seen Friends.
I haven't really seen it either. I know a little bit of it from, like, you know, absorbing it from the internet and people that are things, but I was never big on the sitcom. You know, that was the thing. It's like, I forget what sitcom it was. There was one I tried to watch and it turned me off, and I was just like, all of them are going to be like this.
The only sitcom I have ever enjoyed is Frasier.
I can see that. I've heard good things. Again, like, I just got turned off to sitcoms.
No, it seems like
They're
kind of bad.
At the age when I would have started watching them, I got turned off to them, and so I never really watched any of them. You know, so if you mention any of the sitcoms that were out there, which I guess there's still more nowadays, but any of the ones that have been out for the last like 20 years, I haven't seen shit on any of them. Anyway, so this is not in like our wheelhouse of the Friends part.
Yeah, I mean it's Clue. Clue is like, you know, it's Clue. Clue doesn't change that much.
The thing is, like, it's weird because it's like, be there for your friends sitcom BFF's big reveal. I'm like, Clue is a murder mystery. You're stretching it a lot now. Like, I can see stretches happen in trying to, like, use the formula for Clue. Like, I've talked about this for something like Ticket to Ride. They've had stretches in the past. Like, I think they did a, one where it was, like, building dams in Amsterdam or something, where it was Ticket to Ride or something. Oh, no, not Ticket to Ride. Pandemic. They were doing, like, making sure you weren't flooding in Amsterdam or something, you know. And it was the same model and same style of gameplay, but really what you were doing is trying to, you know, put up a bunch of levees and, you know, shit like that. So I can see using the formula in different ways. But usually, like, you're still undoing a threat. If I all of a sudden turned that into, like, something, like, completely different, same model, but, like, the style of, like, oh, I'm fighting against time, been some kind of threat to, like, oh, there's something happening, we should clean this up. You know, like, the dog's making a mess in the house, clean it up. I'm like, sure, you can use the same model as Pandemic. It's not going to feel the same. Why the fuck are you using the model as Pandemic?
I just, like, have become numb to anything that USAopoly does.
I can understand this, but I can't become numb. I can't let it get to me.
Like, I've accepted that they're gonna just make dumb shit. And people are gonna spend $50 on this.
Oh my god. Is it? I hope it's not that expensive.
It's $45 plus tax.
Oh my god, that's too expensive for Clue. What the? Oh God.
It's like, I don't know, man. Like,
it's not even a crime. It's not even like, something you're going to like solving an actual mystery. It's someone has a revelation, and I guess it gets revealed to the audience beforehand, like some asshole would. I don't know.
I don't know who this product's for.
Like, that's the thing is, it's. I feel like it's too far away from Clue to be for Clue fans. And then, like, Friends fans are out there still, I'm sure, but you just don't... I don't think there's any such big Friends fans as, like... certainly when they're like, there's this, like, Monopoly or this thing here. Like, if it's, like, Star Wars or Star Trek, those are big things that there's still a lot of people...
It would be so much funnier if it was still murder.
That would actually...
That would actually be good. That would be a fun product. Who in the Friends cast got murdered?
I mean, even if they didn't get murdered, like, because it's like the classic one, it's Mr. Body. It's like, what the... Like, I could see them adapting, like, there's someone dropped dead in the apartment. What the hell happened to them? And it's like, it's maybe some kind of accident, but you have to figure out how they accidentally died or something,
It's a sitcom. It could be like, they have to figure out the murder, but oops, the guy's not actually dead.
Yeah.
Because, haha, funny sitcom, gaslight the fucking cast.
But you could do shit like that it's more Clue, rather than, like,
That's
what's one of our
like,
secrets?
Much more Clue than this. Yeah, they finally said.
Mm-hmm.
New York, they might.
Yeah, it's New York, they might. It's like, what secret, who let the cat out of the bag, and where in New York City? That's like, so stupid. It is a who, what, where. But I'm like, I'm sorry. You can make that so much better.
What's next? What's the next dumb thing they can do?
I don't know. Like, I feel like, again, like, this is just such a stretch on Clue. It's a stretch even as, like, the formulas go. I just... This is the disappointment I have. Like, I wouldn't have minded if it was as much... If it was just Clue in some form, rather than, like, it's something stupid not related to Clue that's totally we're making into a mystery, even though it's not actually a mystery because it's a secret.
Yeah, it's just like, I see you down here, you could invite other fans of Friends to play a dumb board game. I do not know a single person in my entire group or life that has ever cared about Friends.
I know people that have watched it. I don't know people that would love it so much to want this product or any product based on it. I'm going to say, like, you like, the thing is, how many diehard fans are there? Are there enough for you to, like, need this? Like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here because we've talked about a lot of weird shit products they've done. God, my brain just doesn't work sometime. The David Bowie one. At very least, even though that's fucking doing something to that poor man in his grave.
Actually, like, disgusting, but at least people give a shit about David Bowie.
Yeah, at least that's something people continue to give shit about because it's something that's actually really good. Like, no one disagrees that he was a great musician. Plenty of people disagree on the goodness of Friends as a series.
Yeah.
There's always personal opinion, but there is usually general consensus in a lot of things. Like, David Bowie, good musician, whether you liked his music or not, that's a consensus.
Man's an icon, you can't deny that.
Yeah. Friends, it may have been a long-run sitcom. That's about it. People have mixed bags about whether it was good or not. Yeah, Lightning watched a lot of family would not buy the game based on it. I can understand that.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, again, like if they had made this more of a clue thing, like maybe made it silly with like a murder thing, or like there's an accidental death and you have to figure out why, so you can tell the police or something. You know, stuff like that you could still build a who, what, where. You know, I would have gotten so.
There are so many better things you could do with Clue.
Even with Friends Clue, I'm saying, like they just. Yeah. And Clue, yes, there's so much better things with Clue. There's probably a billion better products. Anyway. We should talk about another infuriating subject.
Alright, fair enough.
Oh, God. So, we've kind of talked about this on the more extreme before. Especially with a certainly legally distinct pirate we've talked about a few times.
Legally distinct pirate.
But we've talked about problem characters. There are minor problem characters.
Yeah.
This is something that we have to kind of get like a distinction about, because it's the characters in your game who cause issues, but never enough issues to really wreck the game or...
Like, they're doing annoying things, but it's not really enough to ruin the game for anyone.
Yeah. Like, I will tell you, there are two characters that I can point out at this that fall under this category. Mm-hmm. Nax from Star Wars tends to do annoying things, but never enough to, like, you know...
It's more like the annoying... I feel like for you guys, the players, it's like, fine, whatever.
That is a lot of the time. It's
for
like,
me,
fine,
it's like, okay, now I have to get you this information somehow else.
Because Nax doesn't want us to do something with it or something
because like that. Someone doesn't want to go to this planet. There's a prisoner. Someone just shot the prisoner.
Thanks, Lightning. Warhammer 40k crew who killed the God Emperor.
Well, the God Emperor can't die. He's fed off the souls of the subjects.
Uh-huh. But, no. Certainly, like, when Nax says something...
I can deal with Nax, mostly because the party has learned to just ignore everything he says.
Yeah. I think it's also that, like, unfortunately now, there's this 50-50 chance of, like... Is he joking? And I think that's the issue that I have the most about, usually, when it's with him. Is, like, I have to, like... I actually have to take every statement he makes as a player at face value.
Yeah.
Because I do not know if it is a just jest, or if he's going to actually do it like he's done a few times.
Yeah. It's like when in the cave, in the most recent session, stabbing the crystal. I didn't know if that was a joke or not. I mean, that's just a common joke. I shoot person. I don't know if that's a joke or not with this character. Do you actually shoot the person or not? I don't know. You've done it randomly before.
Yeah. I think that's the issue, is that he has randomly shot things and people before. We don't know if he's just... when he says something, if it's random or not. I don't. I think that's not good for a character in a game.
No, it's not.
It's not end of the world for the game. It's not like...
It's just like an annoyance, but it doesn't really hamper too much fun on the other players, I feel.
Yeah.
And I can easily push past it, like, and just push it off to the side most of the time.
Well, it's like things like I compare it to, like, the pirate. The pirate just... no one understood why he was there.
The problem with the pirate is the pirate actually made it impossible for me to run the game. You didn't want to do anything. You didn't want to interact with anyone. You didn't want to interact with anyone giving the quests.
He just wanted to steal money and, like, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. See, that's when your character is an actual problem, which can happen, you know.
Nax will at least do the quests.
Yeah. You know, he's
granted,
like...
he's doing it in a murdery way. He's still doing it.
Yeah, it's more like, you know, we have him there, and, like, we keep him around for I don't know why.
Well, he's good in combat.
Yeah, I guess that's it. He's good in combat. And we're like, well, he's good in combat, and that's helpful for us.
He's good at killing Imperials. He hasn't done anything that illegal. At least not worse than what most of you have done already.
I can agree on that one.
Although I did think when he blew up that ship, I did think he was going to get kicked off and stranded on that planet. I actually thought that, like, everyone was just going to kick him out of the ship.
Close.
I was like... I was prepared to give him another character sheet.
We were so goddamn close.
I think the player learned and has toned it back a bit. But not enough.
No. I mean, like, again, it wasn't anything, like, super terrible.
It wasn't... The annoyance for me is I spent time making a spaceship, it got broke.
Yeah.
Time wasted, whatever. There are people in the party who really wanted that spaceship.
It didn't matter to me. It was the matter of, like, the just press it just because and then pass it off as a non-salami. I did it accidentally. That was what worked on it for me.
That's the thing that made me very annoyed.
Yeah.
Also, it made it more difficult for me to get you certain key information, which you got like some of because the ship blew up, so I couldn't give you all of it.
I think another one, because I don't want to just bust on that character too. Kaz. No.
Catherine. I have many opinions about Catherine.
Kaz and Carrie have been a issue for me in a way. Like, not like a major issue, but like, it's none of them want to do anything particularly like super illegal. They're looking for drugs, but what they're looking for is they're looking for weed. Yeah. That's really what they're looking for.
The most minor of D&D drug.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, I can't really, like, super punish them, because they're not really looking for anything, like, hard, super illegal, and, it's the same thing of, like, honestly, like, in a fantasy setting, it's probably not illegal in most places, like...
Halflings exist.
Yeah.
And halfling weed is a common fantasy trope.
Even in, like, in magic worlds, where, yes, like, halflings are in certain planes, but not like Dominaria. Mm-hmm. Still, the fact is, like, honestly, maybe, like, a couple of the nations would care, but most of them probably wouldn't. Like, Benalia, they're kind of a little stick up their ass. They might care. But, like, where you're from, Orvada...
Talking legal and taxed.
Yeah, it's just legal and taxed, honestly. Certainly maybe shipping to certain places might be illegal, things like that, yeah. There's plenty of those kind of rules for shipping. We talked about that. But it's sort of like, it's annoying because they kept doing it for a long time, And it was a distraction to the game to a degree. So it's sort of like, fine, you can find whatever you need, you're good, you're done. That's kind of how I ended up with all of it. And that's left along a lot of weird adventure paths, and, like, now it's a different story, I think.
Now is when they've become one has... Carrion hasn't really been that much a problem, I think. Because Carrion kind of just does whatever.
Yeah, I think Carrie stays exactly how she's always been. She kind of does whatever. She kind of goes along with it. And, like, I feel like somewhere deep in the character, she knows, like, I set up, like a destiny for her, and she's like, I know that's there, but, like, I'm going to try to avoid it as much as possible.
Like, the thing with Carrion is when Carrion gets a dumb idea, usually can be talked out of it with a good argument. Mm-hmm. Catherine can't.
No. That I definitely agree with. Kaz has reached the point in time where it's sort of like, can you, like, not...
Can you just stop?
Just stop. Just no. Just all of this, no. And it's not a really good... I don't know. The no doesn't seem to work very well nowadays.
It's so hard for... It does two things. One, people have watched Children of Wrath. No, I am not the most involved in the game or the story, though I am there when needed. Part of the reason why I'm not that involved is because Kazra never shuts up.
Mm-hmm. I will agree on that one.
And it's always Kazran does something that derails the thing that would have led to me doing something.
It's the unfortunate thing that I think it's just that dynamic was established a lot earlier on, because it's sort of like they didn't have a leadership or anything like that, you know? We had Carrie, Wintress, Maxwell, and Claude. None of them know what they're doing in life.
No, they're all aimless.
They're all aimless. So as soon as Kat's like, let's go over here, they're like, sure.
It's one of the things, and I often do think about this. Had I joined Wrath from the beginning, I feel like I could have been the voice to be like, shut the fuck up, Kaz, we're doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
But in a time I couldn't join, you know. That was 2 years ago, I had a shitty job. I have a much better job now.
I honestly don't know where the story would have gone, too.
No, I like... It's so weird, because the character... There were two ideas I had. The story would have been so different had either of them joined. We wouldn't be where we were now in... Well, you probably would still have gone to shitty swampland.
Mm-hmm.
The villains would have to have an actual reason to exist other than Kazran.
I had some ideas, but I didn't really have them any decided, because I didn't need to. Like, a lot of the stuff that they were doing early on that was involving them, I just stopped that and came up with a better idea. Like, honestly, I'm going to tell you, because it's not going to affect you much, and they're probably not going to see this.
Yeah.
Urborg had flying city fortresses.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're going to... not Urborg, the Thessalonians.
Also makes sense. That one I did know.
The ancient people.
Some heroes.
They're going to bring one of those back online.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I kind of figured that was the direction it was going, because they're fucking around with Thorani and shit.
Yeah, that's a Thoran. Yeah, sorry, my brain was just a lot. So that's the thing is, that's the storyline that I've ended up at. I had a few ideas for what the end people were going to kind of do at the end, but I decided to change to that. Because, again, I'm just like, I had, like, you know, the core guy stole something from Wintress's tribe and stuff like that. And I was going to establish all these things, but they went on such a weird quest line.
They went to college for a year.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's sort of like, I just... You know, there were some ideas that I have had over the time, Children of Wrath, that I regret that I went along with them. Like, honestly, Thraxus wasn't great. The giant mecha dragon, it was kind of cool, and that's kind of why I wanted to use it. And it was
a little funny.
And it was appropriate in the area. The fact that they made it into a Draco-Lich was not really in my wheelhouse until that very session. They kind of were going in his path, and I'm like, you know what?
To be fair, they left you with basically no option, because they just said, we're gonna revive the dragon, and gave no further explanation.
Yeah. Like, it's sort of like, they could have given me more details to work off of, and I think I would have played it a little differently if they did.
It's like, alright, like in Star Wars, if you, as Civil, who's kind of like the party leader at this point, if you're just like, we're gonna go and invade Mask Lady's base and kill her, and you give me no details on how you're gonna do it, I don't know what I'm gonna fucking prepare.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. You're just gonna go there and kill her? Sure, alright, I'll figure something out maybe.
Yeah. It's not a lot of details. It's not an actual plan. And that's the thing is, some of their plans have been like that. That they're not really like very detailed. They're just sort of like, here is plan, and I'm like, great.
How are you getting from point A to point Z?
Like, and and I regret certain things I've done. Like, I think I didn't do... I did too much with their house. Because I had, like, some cool ideas for it, and, like, you know, it ended up too much. You know, it ended up too much, and I know that. It introduced some things which were good to get them on the storyline, maybe, I guess, I don't know, and some interest in some other stuff. Because they just wanted to go to fucking college.
Well, I don't understand that one. Like, if someone in a game I'm running is like, I don't want to do adventures, I want to go to college, my response is probably going to be, okay, bye. Make a new character. You're in college now.
There was a small core of it that was useful. The entire idea was, originally, going to any of the Solarian colleges because they wanted to find information out about, like, a couple of things, like the Shadow People and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. They also decided to go to college.
Yeah, I can, because, like, in the one game Lightning Run, we went to the Magic College for information. We got said information, got some jobs, and left. We didn't stay there for a year to take classes.
It was, like, I think it's, like, the amount of time they chose to stay was the other big thing, too. You know, like, if they had just been like, you know, we'll check it out for a couple of months or something like that. You know, relax a little bit since we've had, like, crazy adventures going on and we've traveled across continent, you know. Traveling across continent is hard. It probably took, like, a month or so, or, you know, or months, you know, on wagon foot, on a shitty horse that wasn't in good shape, across a massive desert, through a gigantic forest, not in a straight line, you know. They took, like, this weird wavy path that basically, like, across a continent. It probably took a long time, you know? Gotta be honest there. I'm
gonna be 100% honest. Kazarin's character, sometimes I think I'm too strict of a DM when I say no to people. Sometimes I think I'm a little too harsh with that. And then I see Kazarin and I'm like, no, I'm saying no enough times.
No, you know, it's like, it's the thing is, like, I keep saying this. I've reached a point in time where it's hard to say no because I've already got a precedent when it didn't matter as much.
Yeah.
It's built up to this point in time where it's like, it matters more.
It was a series of... Because I've definitely been there like, oh, this won't matter down the line, sure, whatever. And then those just pile up and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah. Well, shit is the exact words I have a lot of times.
I'll just kill Kazarin in the last session, it's fine.
You know, it'll be fine.
Just fill his lungs with lava.
It'll be for the best. It'll save us all. The real villain will be eliminated.
God.
But the thing is, again, like, Kaz is this weird point in time where, like, I call that a problem, but it's still...
The story still gets done, and the game still progresses reasonably.
Yeah.
But it's like, we're kind of dragging someone behind forcefully to get this done.
Yeah. Again, it's not as bad as, like, Pirate Man, because, you know, like...
Pirate Man just was so hard to work with.
Yeah, that wasn't, like, an impossibility to work with. This is like, oh, it's a thing that's there, you know? It's like, it's a Kaz that's there in the back of your mind. What do you do about it?
He needs to go burn down another village, fine, whatever.
He needs to go murder his brother.
Apparently, his brother's cool.
His brother's, yeah, his brother's a better character.
We need to just get Slarvod in the party and leave Kazarin in Hell Island.
The rest of you can join his party. He's got all the cool characters in it, you know? He's had wacky adventures of his own. It's pre-established that. He had, like, you know, his own adventures. You know, what you guys have been doing? I don't know, you went to college, you created a Dracolich, tore a hole in time and space.
I find it so funny that... I was talking to Lightning about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
These three that I travel with have done pretty much nothing for a majority of the game. And then, like, Cole is this semi-famous retired adventurer with a shitload of money on the ruling council of a country, and he's just here babysitting three idiots.
Well, it's because, like, you know, an old friend of yours you used to adventure with was like, can you...
That old friend may not be a friend anymore.
Look, he predicted maybe some of the shit would happen. That's why I asked you to go
But
watch it.
also, he's pretty cool, dude.
Yeah. He is like a, freaking, like, I made him like an 18th level, like, planeswalker, man.
I am making sure they don't do anything too bad anymore.
Yeah. It's the thing is, like, his entire thing is, like, they've done some bad things, they could do some worse things, they mean well, but I have to, like, take care of these, like, important problems here. Can you at least watch after them for a while I'm busy? Because, like, I established he's trying to, like, prevent a Keldon civil war because the Keldons are a very warlike people. It's like if the Vikings made peace with the rest of Europe, but then then there was like a faction of them like, let's go raiding and pillaging everyone again. That's exactly what it is.
Oh yeah, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. They don't help.
No.
They rarely help their case in a lot of things.
Claude makes some sensible decisions.
Claude has become better. He still makes bad decisions, but it's sort of like...
Claude's bad decisions mostly hurt himself, though.
That's true. That's very true. A little bit of other people when, like a horde of shadow monsters indiscriminately murdered both sides of a battle, but that was, He hadn't done that before. He only knew they were there. You test things out. It's not a great test, but it was a test. But, yeah, so, honestly, I think the takeaway is that, talking about all these, is that you are going to face issues that are minor ones to your story. They might not affect the story, they might not even really detract from the overall game, but they're gonna be there and you're gonna have to deal with them, and it's probably one of the harder things to deal with.
Usually having a sit down and a talk with the player will solve most of the issues. Just have a sit down and be like, hey, some of these actions you've been doing, they're making it hard on me as a DM, and I can see it's making the other players really annoyed. Maybe it's you don't have to completely change your character, just tone it back a little bit.
Yeah. Toning it back, that's definitely, like, one of the places where things can happen. I think, like, it's the unfortunate thing that, like, something like Kaz that doesn't work on because, like...
Kaz can't be toned down. The whole character is a god complex.
Yeah, he's gained one of those really ridiculously, and now, like, and I think, like, it's the thing that none of his actions really mess with everybody. They just kind of mess around mostly with what my plans are.
A lot of his actions, to me, as a fellow player and someone who's played these games for, like, I don't know, at this point, almost 20 fucking years, it just don't make that much sense sometimes. Like, sure. Recent example, I guess. Wanting to just randomly murder a family member because he's cooler than you, that doesn't really make any sense as a decision.
Yeah. It's the thing that, like... It's not even meant to be, like, a bust on him. Like, sure. Your team has never been the hero types. You never have been. You've never been the group, like, even, like, they've never been heroes.
No.
They've never been in a position where Slarvad should threaten them.
No.
Or threaten Kaz. Because they're completely different. It's sort of like, yeah, I've been doing all these great things, and Kaz's like, I've invented all these great things. His brother was like, oh, that's awesome! Because it's like, it's completely different things.
Yeah.
I don't know the need for violence there too. Yeah.
I genuinely don't understand the thought process of that one.
Now, granted, like there might be like some joking to it, but again,
I think it is like, but it's become this thing of I don't know when Kaz is joking.
I think that's the truth about Kaz too. It's hard to tell when Kaz is really like joking in a lot of these things, because Kaz is a character that I think that's the issue we're seeing with a lot of these. When a character gets into a certain way that you cannot tell whether they are joking or not. And this can occur in characters. You don't want that to. If you make a joke, you want your people to think, oh, you've made a joke. You don't want them to think of, are you really going to do that? That's not great.
Like, when Cole suggests violence as the first option, it's usually a joke.
Yeah. And I can tell that. It's like, it's like, saying ghosts aren't real for Badger.
It's just funny.
It's
that's
funny.
obviously a joke.
Yeah, it's obviously a joke. Granted, like, making my character have the weird belief that he believes in necromancy, but not, like, natural occurring undead.
Yeah.
That could be a thing, you know? I'm like, naturally occurring undead don't occur. It's all necromancers. Those twisted bastards.
Or even Misty, on multiple occasions, she has said, oh, magic's all the same, it doesn't matter. She obviously knows magic is different.
Yeah.
From caster to caster. She's joking.
Yeah, but also it's sort of like, fundamental level, magic is just kind of...
Yeah, it's similar. A joke.
But it's the joke that could be very well explained and be fine, and I think that's entirely a lot of this stuff is that, like, you gotta be able to tell that for your character and understand that, and not just have that pervasing it. Yeah, don't make villains, make some heroes. And granted, you don't even have to be like a hero. You could just be a dude, an adventurer, or
a
like
dude who found a stick.
Yeah, a dude who found a stick, an adventurer. Like, honestly speaking, you don't have to be a heroic kind of character. There are plenty of characters in a lot of stories that aren't heroes. They just do their things.
I have played tabletop RPGs for 20 years. I think I'm much finished this one. I started a long time ago. I have never played a hero character. I've never played a character that wanted to be a hero. Or was it all a hero? They've all either just accidentally done good things or were thrown into the position where they have to actually deal with this problem. And maybe they don't want to, but they have enough morals to be like, this needs to be dealt with.
Mm-hmm. I think it's I'm working on 30 years now. I was very young when I first started playing.
Yeah, I started playing when I was like 7 or something.
Yeah, I was the same kind of for, like, I was really young. I think it was when my brother bought the Black Box, which was a second edition product, but it was technically first edition. But it was like a reprint during the AD&D years of first edition.
I think my first one was 3.5.
Yeah.
Either 3 or 3.5.
That was...
I don't remember which.
That was way back in the day. So you can see how long I've been going. I'm an old man. Back in my day.
I'm only 26.
Man, you're so young. I keep forgetting you people are young compared to me, some of you.
I'm young, but I've also, like, mostly grown up with 80s and 90s shit.
So I respect that, because 80s and 90s shit is fine. I mean, like, honestly, there's some decent stuff nowadays, but, like, I don't know. Nostalgia wins it out a lot of times for some of the shit.
Yeah, those rose-tinted glasses.
There's some weird shit out there nowadays.
I just don't understand it.
Some of it's okay. Others are just like, what are you doing? Anyway, but that's a side tangent. I think it's like I have made characters that are incidental heroes, but heroes at the start of the adventure.
Yeah.
Like, I have to say, like, Heron, my paladin halfling, which I played a little bit of the War of the Dragon Queen adventures with. A halfling paladin, this 5th edition, as our first example of it. I made a folk hero. And so my entire thing was, my backstory was, I became a hero of my local town, and now I set out to, like, I'm like, well, like, I've done good here, but there's other good that needs to be done in the world. Because I'm paladin, and I'm like, I guess I'm going to go start adventuring and doing that. That's what I did. So I set out to be a hero, but my backstory had me becoming a one to a local populace. So it's sort of like, that was my entire thing, is become a hero to the people that need it. I'm seeking out people that need my help. But I'm playing a paladin, and that's a very goody two-shoes kind of character anyway.
I tend to play, I mostly tend to play characters that were neutral lock back in the day.
Yeah. A lot of chaotic neutral.
I played a lot of chaotic neutral and neutral lock stuff. Now I mostly do, like, neutral good, chaotic or chaotic good.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've settled into. Like, it's kind of like, I think it's like, as I've grown up, it's like most of us are less selfish and we like want to be generally like, good to our fellow man and fellow people, in real life. So when we make the characters, we generally are like, well, we just make a character that generally wants to be a good person.
Yeah.
There can be exceptions, like I've played in evil campaigns, but like, my evil character for the evil campaign I played was a politician. I was just an evil politician. I was a lesser noble, and at the beginning of the game you end up in jail. Mine was I tried to assassinate the king.
Fair.
I tried to arrange an assassination because I was like, the king was lawful good, and I'm like, I'm like lawful evil, and your king is lawful good. I'm very virtuously lawful good, like, like holier than thou paladin type, and I'm like, I don't like this. Let's get a new king.
Yeah, I mean, like, records of evil character guy I played. I don't remember his name at this point.
Yes.
He was evil. He was just an assassin.
Yeah. I think your character was probably the evilest, but you were more neutral evil than anything.
It's the character did have the sort of the belief of Asmodeus, but it was more like he'd been thrown into the future for 10 years. He doesn't care anymore. Yeah.
I think it's the same thing of like, when we're talking about records, which was kind of a lawful evil campaign, it's Asmodeus. Asmodeus is lawful evil. You can be around that.
You can be within the steps. It's fine.
Yeah. And especially one step for a cleric, and a little farther for other people. Like, the Mishka, the druid, she was just like, my family always worshipped this. I always got into it. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
They were true neutral, but they're like, oh, you're going to do a they're not going to do the sacrifice, but they're not going to stop you, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like the thing with Dox was his name. That was him. The thing with him was like, well, these guys have given me the most contracts, so I might as well work with them.
Yeah. I think it was the same for like Jess's character. She was like a thief that could get into a lot of places that like just employed her, then for the cult. And so instead she just was like, there's some benefits for like joining the worship and stuff, and the community's great, I might as well join them. Because honestly, lawful evil cults are probably better than a lot of cults. Still culty, but
still cult.
If you're gonna choose a cult, that's probably your best one to choose. Yep. As evil cults go.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, just like to avoid being a problem character, just be mindful of your actions.
Yeah.
Be observant, because you can definitely notice when you've gone a little too far.
Mm-hmm.
The reactions. And then just like, if you think maybe you did an action that was a little too far, ask.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is just like, your character's actions, just as you have actions, have weight. So be careful, because even when you're hanging out with people and doing stuff, your actions have weight, Don't do anything too stupid. It's the same thing. It's sort of like when I'm doing a game, sometimes you run into very dark, deadly, terrible things.
Yeah.
You want to try to do them, we've talked about this in the past, in a way that's the least offensive. You can have terrible things happen. You can have things like, slavery, murder, rape, other various horrible genocide.
Yeah, someone with a mask killing planets.
Yeah, you can have these things. You just have to have them in a way that is, I guess the proper word is marketable. You can have it as, you don't want to, like, display this shit graphically. You could have, like, if you want to talk genocide, you could have the after effects of it. You don't want to go see, like, it happening. You could be like you come across a village where there's a mass grave. That's a terrible thing. You can tell what happened there. That's, like, oh my god, what the hell happened here? This is so depressing and sad.
Yeah, like, I'm not gonna, in Star Wars, make you go to a planet in the process of being all the life drained out of it. That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. But we can hear about it, or we can come afterwards and be like, oh my god.
You can see the aftermath. Yeah. Or, like, if I'm running one of my Grim Hollow games, I'm not going to have the party arrive in the middle of an Inquisition. You're going to get there after it's happened, and you get to see the damage.
And you probably don't want to allow this stuff to happen directly to your characters. That's kind of terrible. Now, granted, like, the genocide thing, they could be fighting against some people trying to, like, do that to a town. But that's just fighting, like, an army or something. Just knowing that that army's just going to kill everybody versus them just, like, capturing everybody, enslaving anybody, conquering everybody, that doesn't really have a lot of weight. You're still fighting people to the death, you know? But things like, you know, there's very dark things that can happen. Like, things like abuse and rape and stuff like that are very terrible. Don't have them happen to your players. We've talked about in the past, have that happen around them, kind of things like that. You can have that. You can have them involved in that way. You know, you can have, like, a good friend of one of your PCs, something terrible happens to them. What do you do to that, you know? Especially if that character's important to the game, you can have a storyline like that and have some meaningful developments and figuring that out, you know? Maybe the entire thing is getting revenge for that player, you know, going after, maybe it's like a noble that did this horrible thing in this, like, corrupt town, and you have to go, like, you know, bring some street justice to them. That's an adventure you can have that involves some darker shit that you don't, like, just shove in front of them. And it's the same thing as you as a player. Don't shove that stuff in front of the other players.
Yeah.
You know, think about your actions. And, you know, that's for strong stuff. There's minor things to this, too, you know, certainly. And, every action has a meaning. Just remember that kind of thing, you know, and act accordingly. I think that's where I wanted to kind of put it with this, you know. It's the, you know, before I got to a lot of tangenty there. Your actions mean something. Plan it out well. Yeah. I think that's about it then for that topic. It was a good one to discuss and bring up with everybody. So. Are we in tabletop? Oh, I put that in the wrong spot. The freaking thing. I can fix that. I'll just do that while we talk about it. We didn't have a Saturday. We had a.
We had Sunday.
Yeah.
You interrogated a lady. Learned a little bit. She escaped. A horribly botched combat on everyone's part.
Yeah.
So many messed up rules. It was actually kind of funny. But she escaped. And then you had, like, adventures with the rats for a little bit.
I thought that was great. Like, because the thing is, like, I could kind of track her, but it was also...
Yeah, you can track her through the sewers, and then, like, for context, she ran into the sewers, and Panther's like, well, I want to talk to a rat, and I'm like, well, alright, I'll make it... Because this is, like, there's always that inner voice that was like, just make it silly.
Yeah.
And then, like, alright, what's silly? Alright, this rat's got a stupid accent. I don't know, they're part of the rat kingdom. And you're invading the rat realm. And, you know, you want to help them out. Well, you're going to get all this lore about the Great Rat Civil War where Robert Baratheon was assassinated.
Look, I just assumed some shit happened, and we just, like, I came back, like, hours later, you know, having gone on massive adventures. It's like, where the hell have you been?
Rat adventures.
Rat adventures. I thought that was, like, that was a good way of doing that entire thing. It's sort of like, you know, like, yeah, that's some rat adventures.
Anytime someone uses speak with animal or speak with plant, I do always make the joke of, well, how... I can't speak. How are you speaking to me? And then the thing has a crisis because it doesn't know English. And now, especially if it's a plant, you've given this plant sentience for a moment, and it's going to go away eventually.
Like, for the rat, it's for a brief moment, it can, like, you know, express its ideas.
Oh, you speak rat.
Well, I feel like for, like, animals that actually have a level of intelligence...
Animals can understand... Like, in real life, animals can understand language.
So it's sort of like, it's more that it, like... It's interpretations through the magic that give you, like, that, like... This is the kind of thing it's saying and expressing, you know... It reinterprets it back to that, you know, like, rat level then, or something like that, you know. I figure that's always what it kind of is. So... But it was fun. We did have Star Wars.
We did have Star Wars. You went to... Oh, yeah, you went to Cell's home planet.
We did.
Yeah. You had adventures on Batu, and I at the start of this campaign when Cell joined, I had forgotten that that's what Disney's theme park is called. And then I'm like, well, now it's too late to change it.
That's why it was the theme park jokes.
And I'm like, it's too late to change it now.
Oh god, we said his homeworld on the Disney theme park.
Yeah, you guys went to Batu, which is Disney's fucking Star Wars theme park. Which, by the way, fun fact, everything in that theme park is considered canon to Star Wars, so Coca-Cola and Dasani water are canonically in Star Wars. So the party bought, I don't know, I made the joke that they could buy Coca-Cola if they wanted to.
I think someone did, and someone then just murdered someone that bought it or something. I don't know.
I don't remember what you people do. But, you know, you went on adventures. You met with the nice hermit lady who Cell had met previously. I mean, I can tell you what's going on with her. I think a lot of people have assumed it by now.
Yeah.
Then you went to a weird cave. You were assisted by a masked, hooded friend.
Who's totally not this weird lady.
Who's totally not that lady.
Yeah.
Totally wasn't that lady.
Totally wasn't.
Nope, not at all.
Not at all, no.
But you found a door, and then someone wanted to talk to the door, which is a hilarious idea. Surprisingly, doors don't know that much information. And when Cell asked, how do I open the door? I slipped and was like, with the Force, dumbass.
Yeah. And then, like, I do like our timing that I'm like, well, I guess I'll just use remove curse, and then, like,
oh god,
3 seconds afterwards, like, maybe we shouldn't.
It's just so funny, but it's also so sad, because that was, like, there were 2 wrong options. Breaking the crystal with weapons and remove curse. But no one gave me enough time to be like, well, there's some symbols and words written around. People immediately went to, I want to attack the crystal, and then I want to remove curse. Which, to be fair, remove curse is logical.
I think that entire thing was, we turned from, oh, hey, let's investigate the crystal, to, oh my god, the crystal did something horrible to us.
Oh, the crystal's evil.
Yeah. It switched our gears, the attacking it, unfortunately.
It was so unfortunately funny. But yeah, you dealt with the crystal. The crystal had a big evil force monster inside of it, who actually, like, well, not the most deadly thing I put you up against your level. Did nearly kill 2.
Yeah. It was a pretty tough
actually
fight.
3 of you, because Cell got pretty low too.
It was a pretty tough fight.
It's amusing and annoying to me. I'm gonna bring Nax up again. Well, every time Nax is like, that was so easy, and I look at everyone else's tokens, and it's like, oh, you've got no health left.
Yeah, the rest of
Nax just has like 20 AC because he's basically a fucking fighter.
Yeah, Nax is a tank. He survived it more than the rest of us.
The rest of you are like, so Nax had like 100 health. Look over. Oh, you've got like 0. You've got 2. You've got 14. That's fine.
Like, I spent money to level up my shield that I always have, because that's the only armor I can use.
Yeah.
I can use, like, light armor, but I have a force power that I can set up, like, that lasts, like, 8 hours, you know.
I have so many problems with, because I tried to build a Sentinel for fun. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, you never attacked you, but you were at range.
That's because you never got into melee range with it.
The melee of us were like just shit beat out of us.
She had a bunch of abilities, but like people just kept getting into melee range with her. So she just kept slapping. She had range attacks. She could have thrown rocks and stuff with the Force. I did make it so that because I like testing out new and fun abilities. This one, basically, anytime someone moves to it, it could attack you, and then if it hits the attack, it can attack again.
Ooh.
I think that's a bone claw ability, whatever it is. The really big, tall skeleton monster.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those slapped onto those. But yeah, it was like a pretty deadly fight. You guys won. And you got a super cursed lightsaber out of it.
I mean, I did break the curse on it.
You did break the curse, but now you have a weird corrupting crystal, which no, I don't think anyone wants to use.
I mean, like breaking the general curse on it is one thing. Like purifying the horrible amounts of like negative
I will tell you,
energy
it is possible. It will be a side quest, and it'll make the crystal significantly less good. Evil stuff is inherently powerful. Also, like, normally when I have the crystals get purified, it's like 1 level of exhaustion. It'll be 3 if you try to purify this thing.
Honestly, like, I'm not that interested.
It's like, it doesn't really do much. It adds some necrotic damage to your sword. It's just extra damage. Doesn't really do anything else. It technically is a legendary item. But again, I don't think anyone cares. But you got a lightsaber out of it for Yak, who's a Force user now.
I remember that. It's so silly, but great.
Yeah, Star Wars. I think you left. I don't know. You left Batu, and then you went to Mon Calamari.
Yeah.
To meet up with someone, and then you saw like a big old Clone Wars airship, which was weird.
Yes, we saw the Clone Wars. That's where it kind of ended.
And that's where we ended.
We haven't met up with our person and figured out.
No, that'll be next session, and then I have no idea where you're going next.
We haven't figured out if we're keeping both of our like lightnings or just one of our lightning at a time. You know.
Lightning informed me of stuff, and it's mostly going to be Lightning's decision.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Kind of like I feel like it's going to be in that spot of either one could be slotted in if needed.
Gotcha. So kind of pull like what you're kind of moving into with Rio a little bit. You know.
Yeah, you guys are kind of moving your way into the end game now.
That's good. I mean, like
I could extend it to 15 very easily by changing a couple things. I don't know if I really want to anymore. Because it was like, I had this idea at work, I'm like, I could make this longer. And then I realized 2 things. 1, I have to deal with Nax more. And 2, I don't want to run a level 15 D&D game for 5th edition, because there's no balancing it.
I think that was the thing I was thinking about, too. I was thinking about that. I'm like, if you really want to, sure. But I'm like, also, like, I don't need
This
to.
game has gone on for like 4 months now, and I don't want to balance for a level 15 party.
And it's the honest thing that, like, I think for me, as much as I don't mind being in a bunch of games, I feel like I need more evenings open.
Yeah.
Like, if I take on another game after, like, these first couple, I think I want to move on to more, like, afternoony games and maybe, like, one,
fair.
maybe at most 2 that I'm not running in the evenings.
Very understandable.
Like, I already have the Pathfinder 2nd Edition one, which I never know is going to run.
Yeah, that's, like, you're in such a weird spot with that one.
Yeah, it's like, I like the game a lot. I would like it for it to be consistent. I don't know. It's just been, like, a player issue, and the DM has a really a side quest. My nice DM, she has a really shitty job right now that, like, apparently it would start out decently, but long story short, the owner of the place she's working at is basically trying to tank the business.
I've been there. Yeah.
It's one of those secondary education, low income places. So, like, people that are, like, you know, more city people that need, like, another bit of education can go to learn some other thing, you know, get, like, some kind of, like, associate's degree or something like that. That's a really nice kind of place to work at. But if your person who runs that place and owns it basically outsources your one of your major advisors that you would have for both students and other employees, like a human resource person, to India.
Nice.
They are not in the country with you. This is the same human resource person that's supposed to help students with their resumes when they're leaving the college. They aren't living in the same country. So when she tells me, like, shit's been crazy at her job and she's feeling tired and needs to rest or something, I'm like, I can understand that.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I know that once the Cyberpunk game is honestly, that's done in 3 sessions.
Yeah.
That's going to be over very quickly. Star Wars, probably like another month or 2.
Yeah.
Depends on the party. I'm probably taking a nice break from running stuff because I need to refresh my creative juices a little bit. And I might run in the afternoon on Thursdays.
I've been thinking about, like, I don't know. Once I'm done Thursdays, I might move it to another day rather than have it on Thursdays then.
I know. It's like one of those things is I want to run more games. I want to also have free time.
I have to figure, like, it's the eternal problem of figuring out your own schedule versus figuring out the schedule you want to take, and it's always going to be a problem. Games take up at least 3 hours, at very least. Yeah, you're taking Sundays and then another day of Lightning. Like
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I was like, I give myself Sundays now, like except for the evening where like someone else runs a game. I thought about like streaming like a game during the day on Sunday. I'm like, I got rid of that. I'm like, look, maybe I'm busy, maybe I'm not, but honestly, having like a day where the full day is that I cannot worry about anything is pretty good. If I want to run something or be part of something on a Sunday evening, keeping that as an option is fine by me. I don't mind that. And like, there's other things like that like, I feel like I need points in time. Like, I kept talking about, I've talked about, like, having an in real life meeting with, like, Blaze and Joe and some people, if I organize it ahead of time. The days I can do that are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fridays I'm not going to know about till that day. Doesn't really work. Saturday, Sunday I currently have games. Granted, the Saturday game is one more session, and that's fine then done. But, like, I'd like to get that done, because then I could be like, oh, that the Fallout one is at least done for now, that I think we're having that today, we're talking about it or something. That's great. That's at least a time where I could be like, oh, I could organize something on a Saturday. Maybe Sundays are better, but I don't have those Sundays right now, It's like, I have Monday nights free right now, completely and utterly. I can't really organize a lot on a Monday night. It's a Monday night.
Lightning, run something on Mondays at night.
I gotta do some more, like, afternoon or morning stuff, too. Like, not really early morning, like, in place of my normal stream, like, 11 o'clock, morning.
I'm probably gonna start trying to run more afternoon stuff, because I've found, especially with Star Wars, I'm really tired at night, because I work a lot.
Oh, yeah. Even I, who work a lot less, am tired at night. When it gets to night, I found that I tend to be a lot less productive in general.
Yeah.
Having, like, one late night show is fine. Having, like, 5 things I'm doing late at night, it's like... It's also, like, it's that weird thing of, like, I consume a lot of, like... my entertainment comes from, like, YouTube and Twitch, I have to say. Like, there's a lot of Twitch streamers that I do like to check out what they've been doing that are evenings. So either I have to kind of have them on the background and not really listen to them, or I gotta go watch them later.
Yeah,
sometimes.
like, I like to watch, Chilled stream. He always streams when I have to run Star Wars or Cyberpunk. And I'm like, well, I kind of want to watch him play Among Us.
At least for Chilled, I think, because I do like to watch that too. I know that, like, he'll put the highlights on YouTube.
And I'll, like, the next day, I'll watch the VOD, or, like, with Jeremy Dooley, I'll watch his Minecraft stuff.
But yeah, it's like, it's hard to do that because there's people that specifically are in the evenings, and, like, stuff more like that. So, you either have to... It's like, the thing is, you have your things you like to watch that are entertainment too, and you try to fit those in. And, like, I do a lot of, like, I'll put a stream on and then work on something else too, But... Yeah. I still like to be in a point in time where I'm feeling intelligent, like, or something like that. I don't know. It's hard.
Makes sense.
Balancing a schedule. That's another thing that's a problem. That's a life problem for that's more than just, like, tabletop. Balancing a schedule.
Yeah. We're off for Buccaneers still.
I was
Should
talking.
be back next week, right?
Yeah, this next week we're coming up. We should be back. We should be back for both games. We were off both this week
Yeah.
because it's the last week off. I'd say I did get some work done getting the setup done, which is a lot. I've got to get a little bit more done, but I should be okay in time. It's the issue that you get to an island. You have an island to explore.
Yeah.
I have to be ready for a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Because depending on where... There's actually multiple options for where you make landfall.
Oh shit, that's a lot.
Yeah. There's like a number of beaches that you can just send boats to, and there's a couple of bays. So you can make a choice of which one you want to go to. And depending on the one that depends on, like, you know, what you find there, what you see, things like that. And so, like, yes, I got to be ready for a lot is the only unfortunate thing. I got to be ready for, like, 2/3 of the adventure. I am maybe at the third, but again, like, a lot of it, like, is setting up, like, monster sheets where you can I can just roll dice for that, honestly. You know, I can just use the sheets that are in the books if I really needed to. That's, like, the maps are the most important thing, I think, on that end, and maybe, like, tokens and stuff like that, you know, just in general sake. Getting, like, the images set up. But yeah, my quest for possibly another character player didn't go anywhere. I didn't really send out messages. I kind of minimized that a little bit, and I kept, you know, forgetting to. Maybe I'll try to hit up a few people next couple of days, but that's the best I can say. It might just be with the group we have right now and see how it plays out. For now, at least. The fortunate thing is I can always figure something out later, and then yeah, children should be there too. So should be a regular week at least this week, mostly. And I will definitely play some more Wrath of Righteous, and we'll see how that crusade goes.
I'm sorry.
Honestly, like reading up on the suggestions on how you do it, it's interesting that there were things I was looking at that I'm like, wow, these things aren't helpful at all. It's sort of like, make one really good army with a really good general and level it up. They're like recommending. I'm like, okay, that's information that's good to know that you just don't easily tell people. Or wait, you turned off in an unusual mechanics that's sort of like, do you know Pathfinder? Do you need the tutorials? Doesn't say, do you know our abilities? Do you know our mechanics? Do you need a tutorial? No, it doesn't say that, so, you know, we just don't know about that. Whoops. Like, you didn't tell me. Turned it off. Anyway, complaints. And I'll play more Final Fantasy 12, because I actually have a lot of fun with that. You know. It's one of those ones that I'm like, it's up there with 6 for me, but I could not tell you which one is my best. Because they're both really favorites right now. And I've been having a really good time. Join me for that. Anyway, I think we'll get going. It's been a good show. We did miss like a 15 minutes, but we recapped it pretty well.
That's fine.
It's fine. I hope everybody has a great rest of your Saturday, and I'll be at least back on Monday, and you'll be back with me theoretically on Wednesday and Thursday for those 2 days. So
Yeah. Should be
fun. Anyway, farewell, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.